walked back out. So I've been pleasantly surprised by the XDiavel. I got to sit on it at the Long Beach International Motorcycle Show and get some photos with my son. I'll show those right now. Pretty damn cool. It was a comfy riding position. I was impressed by the seat. The legs forward were nice and relaxed. The reach forward of the bars was a bit more than I'd want. I'd probably want to be backing up an inch, but otherwise it wasn't the clamshell that you'd expect from like a V-Rod or a Harley Superglide Sport. It was a mostly upright riding position. Basically the current Diavel with feet forward. Some of the things I've learned about the XDiavel: it has a stainless steel fuel tank. So while you won't be able to use a magnetic tank bag with that, you won't have to worry about rust. It is, I think, 1 liter larger than the existing Diavel, and it's just a much slimmer design, so you don't have all this piggy crap hanging off. It's very, very cool. I wonder how many of these jackasses are making a left-hand turn. So, great riding position. It's a tad heavier than the Diavel at like 20 pounds plus. It's disappointing that the S model does not have Öhlins, doesn't have forged wheels. They are really nice looking wheels, but they are not forged. I think if they were, they'd mention that. But they are machined. Meh. Part of the weight increase is because it is a larger engine, and one of the most interesting things I learned in the press showing that Ducati did was that the engine does not have hoses. All of the coolant circulates internally, and that makes for a very clean engine. Not clean as in clean running, but clean as in you don't have a bunch of crap hanging all over it. So that's really cool. Probably easier maintenance, probably, well, hopefully easier radiator burping when you go to flush that fluid, because you don't have to deal with all these hoses holding air, but that could mean that air could get trapped in the engine. Maybe not likely. Maybe the journals inside the engine, hopefully they put the water pump in a good place. All you have to do is fill up the engine, crank it over, let it run for a little bit, top off. The Diavel is a pain in the ass. There is so much plumbing everywhere. I don't know. It's not terrible. You do have to top off and burp and tip the bike side to side quite a few times to get all the air out, but it is kind of a pain. So there's that. The base model has a black swing arm, the S model has a raw swing arm that looks pretty cool. I would probably go with that. Might even strip the tank bare to stainless, but the other difference is the engine is like a glossy finish on the XDiavel S, whereas I think it's like a matte on the base. And then you also get the Bluetooth stuff, the infotainment and whatever that crap is on the S. I assume that would be like an accessory upgrade on the base model, but that's kind of cool. Another cool thing to note is while the price is like the carbon price for the base model, they said in the press release, the press video, that the backrest for the passenger is included, and it sounded like they said there's also a longer seat included with both bikes. So for passengers, you won't necessarily have to deal with that super short, oh my god, my ass is going to fly off the back of this thing seat. So that's cool. So the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe just maybe that price is justified. But I'm saving for a house. Gotta save for the house. Damn you, Ducati. You come out with an interesting new bike that kind of is what I wanted out of the Diavel from the get-go, but this thing's fun to ride. It'd just be nice to have a more plush suspension and cruiser riding position for long trips. But man, the new XDiavel is pretty damn cool. The coolant is high up on the steering stem area. I think the air intake is actually on the bottom right hand side of the engine, and it goes in from the radiator. At least that's what I thought that scoop was on the side. I could not find any scoops anywhere else, and it's like a rear facing thing. But man, overall it's just a super cool setup. Maybe after I get a house and my wife gets a bike, we'll trade up. So for anybody that's interested in the bike, I will be doing a test ride as soon as I can get one. And I will give a blatantly honest review of how it compares back to back with the Diavel Carbon with some upgrades. Because I get tired of reading or seeing all of these reviews that people do. It's clear that they know very little about motorcycles as far as mechanical and electrical goes. And really just the breadth of bikes they've ridden. Can't blame them. They've only in their early 20s, but some of them are pretty big motovloggers. It's cool that they're getting into doing reviews, but it's kind of worthless to watch somebody doing a review of a bike when they don't really know what they're talking about. So I might get into that. I don't have a lot of time though, and I need to make some relationships with dealerships who will let me do that. But who knows? Maybe I could work that out. I think Shane would have fun doing that too. And I'd be able to talk a lot more about power comparisons and things like, is this going to get you up a mountain? Or are you going to be feeling like your motorcycle's hamster powered if you try to go up any hills whatsoever? It's one of the reasons I like 1,000+ cc motorcycles. The 675 Triumph is no slouch, and a lot of 600 modern 600s are much better. And to be honest, I think I would trade the 1098 on the new, 959 Panigale, because there's so many upgrades on that bike compared to the 1098, and it's got all the safety features when you need them. It probably has, oh man, I think the 899 actually had comparable power. It was just down a little bit on torque. So the 959, I would not be surprised if it has as much or more power than my old 1098. So that might be something my wife would be interested in. I can't get her off the sport bike thing. I'd really like her to get into riding cruisers because they are honestly easier to ride. You don't feel like going as fast. Although, obviously, a Diavel's an exception, but who knows what she'll get. Maybe she'll end up getting a multi-strada. We'll see. But she gets the next bike, so I'm kind of stuck for a while. That's why I might get into doing test ride stuff.